everybody, it's me again. I hope you are having a wonderful day, just as I am. And I'm adjusting my microphone. Okay, so let's see if anyone is joining this little live chat today. Da, da, da. All right, so let me start with what we're going to talk about today. So as I wrote in the description box and also in the community post, that we will be exploring and discussing various aspects of learning styles, techniques to improve learning outcomes, strategies to train the mind, and which is actually the system, right? And finding the balance between divergent and convergent thinking style. Because sometimes when we brainstorm too much and not actually grounding the ideas, we can get very stuck in our head, okay? And then it's just so unable to make it into reality. Like we can have a lot of imaginations or a lot of visualization, but then if we are not grounding it, it basically means it's just in our mind, and that would just be divergent. And that's why we also need convergent thinking in order to we also need convergent thinking in order to ground the ideas. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to explore together. And as usual, if you have any comments, thoughts, ideas, opinions, please feel free to share in the comment section below, and we're going to explore it together. Okay, so what can we start with is learning style. Now I have a little bit, because I jotted down some learning styles before some time ago, maybe like a month ago, and it's based on how I personally learn. Okay, because I know there are systems that would say like you learn by audio, right? You learn by visual, and you also learn by kinetic, right? Body. So there are different types, and it has been categorized in such a way, in a traditional sense, more traditional sense, or scientific sense. Now for me, how I personally realized is from my own learning experiences, and I jot down many types of learning styles, and that's why I would love to share with everyone here. So what it is that there are different ways of learning, and when it comes to ways of learning, it really depends on how a person is constructed, as in their mind, as in their background, and also even to the point of how they interact with the environment, right? Because these are all contributing factors to how we learn how to learn, right? Because learning is really about learning how to learn, to discover the way that suits us best in order to facilitate how we learn about anything, basically. So this is what I would love to share a little bit here, although I don't think I can go in depth to it, but I hope it can give you a little bit of like stimulation for your neurons, and so you can kind of feel it and see if it actually works for you. Okay, so now I'm gonna go with there actually how many learning style. I'm like, I want to write a little notes. So now there are different ways of learning, like this many. Okay, that's why I have to go through. Let's check if you have some. Okay, let's check if you have some of the learning styles. Now the first one is, now okay, before I go into that, all these learning styles actually applies. How does it apply to yourself? Like if you check it with yourself, It's actually ways of learning as well as how you express. Because the way that we learn is actually the way we express. Does it make sense? Like if you tend to express yourself in a very logical way, that's also how you learn. If you tend to express yourself in a very imaginative way, that is a sign. That is also one of the ways that you would learn from imagination, through imagination. Does it make sense? Okay, so this is the link here. Okay, now let's go through the little list together. Okay, so the first one is logic. This is like, everyone's like, yeah, I know, the left brain, the left brain is logic. What is logic? If we say the learning style of logic, it basically means you derive from cause and effect. Cause and effect. That is logic. The way of learning, which is, or say, action and reaction. You think in a way of, because of there is such a thing, and so there's then this thing, right? That is logic, logical learning. The second one is visual. Visual. But there is actually a slight difference when it comes to, do you learn better when it comes to still images? Or it's better for you to learn with moving images? That is the difference. That is the difference. Because some people can learn better with static images. That is also visual, right? But then there's another part of the visual that would be motion. So it could be videos, it could be movies. That is another way of learning. But not everyone could be, no, it's like person A could be learned much better with static images, still images, but person B could be learned much better with motion pictures. Okay, now the fourth one is audio. So audio is basically like, some people could learn best when it comes to listening to audiobooks or podcast or radio, okay, like things like this. But what I'm saying here, or what I'm suggesting here, it doesn't mean that you only have one way of learning style. It means that you can kind of like see which ones are your strongest, and how you also can diagnose yourself, which is which way of learning style is the most efficient for you at this point, because you can actually expand on it. It's a repertoire. It's an entire repertoire. You can expand on it. Okay, so you can be logical and visual, motion pictures at the same time. You know, that is like an entire. That is your, how do you say that? Like the graph, like draw it like a graph. Okay, it's like your own set of abilities, learning styles. Now let's keep going. The fourth one was audio, right? So now there's the fifth one, which is imitation. To imitate. That is a learning style. Yes, that is absolutely a learning style. What could it be? Such as you watch certain demonstration learning. You learn through observing demonstration, and then you imitate, say, you imitate maybe like a magic trick, you know, like the actual magic trick, okay, like cards. You learn by imitating how your teacher moves around. And you also could learn by how your dancing teacher dance, and so you would imitate the way that he or she dances. That is imitation. Or even playing the piano. You learn by imitation, or even by speaking, the way that they speak. That's why some people could be super good at imitating or impersonating like singers' voices. Or facial expression, right? That is actually imitation learning style. Another way. Now there's another way after imitation is reading. So you could be very efficient when it comes to learning, very efficiently when it comes to words, okay? That is one way. And also, it really depends, because sometimes reading it can be simply passively reading, like silently. Passively and silently reading could be good for some people, but now for some other people, it could be very beneficial for them to read it out loud. You see, there's a difference here. So that would be audio plus reading would be very beneficial for some individuals to learn. Whereas for some others, they don't need the audio ones. Like if you actually incorporate the audio part element to it, it could actually lower the efficiency of how they learn. Okay, so it's a different set of probabilities, all right, or different set of learning styles for everyone. Now, let's keep going. After reading, we have instructional. What does it mean by instructional? It means that if a person has a tendency to learn or express through an instructional way, it means that this person like to receive or give step-by-step instructions. Okay, so for example, what could it be? It could be like you could be someone like reading the manual. Like if you have a machine or whatever, you like reading the manual. That is a step-by-step instruction. But for some people, they really do not read the manual at all. They don't like reading manual. Okay, so this is for step-by-step instruction. That's why it's instructional. They learn best maybe with a teacher, mentor. So this mentor or teacher would tell them, now you need to do this now. And then after 2 weeks, if you completed this and you have reached this standard, then you can start this. Now this is instruction, okay, instructional. Some people can't work with this. They do not like frameworks, okay? They do not like frameworks. They do not like this kind of so structural teaching or learning, okay? For some, it works. And it's really interesting when it comes to INTJ, the archetype, okay, in MBTI. These individuals learn best with instructional and structural teaching or learning style, because they usually have a tendency to they lose concentration when it comes to learning, okay? But they think a lot. These are the people who need to train their concentration a lot, but they have an experience with hyperfixation sometimes. Now, this is different. When someone has a very has a flexible concentration skill set or say ability, it means that this individual is able to zoom in and zoom out at will. But when it comes to hyperfixation, it is not at will. It is not with self-control. Okay, it is not with self-regulation. Okay, so that is why it is important to see this difference. All right. Oh, I think I see a comment. M said, unfortunately today, when we say reading, people mean they had passively listened to an audiobook, perhaps while driving with their mind on something else. Then they say, I read that book. Yeah, the wording, right? The wording, I understand. Yeah, the wording. Maybe they should say, I listened to that book, right? I mean, they technically, they actually did explore the materials or contents of that book, but it's not that the action does not align with the word, the definition of the word, right? It's true. Yeah, it's kind of mind-bugging. It is kind of mind-bugging. Okay, now let's keep going, shall we? Now, after instructional, there is something called non-linear learning. So what is non-linear learning that I'm referring to? It actually means explorative learning, non-routine. Okay, some individuals, they can't learn by routine. Now, that would ring a bell if it's for you, people who recognize themselves having ADHD. or ADD if you want to prefer ADHD, okay? So individuals who have ADHD, they might not, oh, your typo, listened. Yeah, so yeah, they listened. Yeah, they listened to the book. So when it comes to non-linear learning, ADHD individual might resonate with this because they are pretty explorative when it comes to their mind alone, okay? They think from this to this to this to this. So this would, the non-linear learning style would actually fit them to a certain great degree, because that allows them to have more rooms for exploration, and it doesn't have so much of a structural, like it's non-routine. They need things to switch things up. They need to switch things up in order to keep them interested. Okay, that's what ADHD individuals would appreciate more when it comes to learning. But that's why they don't like traditional education system, because the traditional education system is very based on instructional logic, and also structural, because there's another type is called structural. That would not make a kid with ADHD happy at all, because they don't like routines. They do like certain routines when it comes to the things that they're interested in, but they do not like, they usually don't like any kind of routine things when it comes to learning. Okay, but because for the things that they're interested in, they already are very fixated on it. Okay, so there's another side of them. Anyways, but there's a different, there's like a different, there's a spectrum. So everyone is kind of different with their own set of probabilities in a way. But we have, like, for this particular topic, ADHD learning style, it has to be like another thread, another topic to discuss. Now, let's keep going. The other one is repetition. Repetition means routine. So this is fixative learning. Repetition is when some people, they really like to say, keep practicing one particular technique. Like, for example, if someone learns music, some individual would really like to keep practicing one certain piece of music, like say the piano, okay? And they do not really get bored with that. However, for some other people, if they are more into, say, non-linear learning, which is explorative learning, they would not appreciate repetition. Okay, that does not help them to learn best for repetition. But for some people, yes. For some people, yes, it's more routine, but in a more, how should I say, it's more particular. It's more particular. It's like a repeating a particular task, a particular technique to refine it, okay? So that's for some individuals. Now, after repetition is connection. Connection, what does it mean? Connection means it's connective thinking. Now, what is connective thinking? Connective thinking meaning, it means to linking patterns. Like, you're able to link this thing from one ideology to link to another set of ideology, and you can find similar patterns. You can connect them, connect the dots, basically. Okay, so this is connective thinking. That is the learning style that I refer as connection. You can make connection. Now, this is the learning style if if there's a student. This would, how would it manifest in, right? How would it manifest in when it comes to connection learning style? It's good to give them case studies. Like, say, I give this person a case study A and the case study B, and I will ask, what similarities do you find in here, right? and then allow them to express themselves. Usually people who embody such a learning style, they would make connections very easily by spotting patterns. They link the patterns together, okay? Even if it's two completely different genres, they are able to connect the dots. So this is a skill. This is a skill set they actually have. How these people would usually express in their daily lives. If it's a connection thing, connection learning style, that is also connection expressive style, right? What they would do is say, if in a conversation, if you say your friend and you, when you guys are talking, this friend, say this person has a connection learning style, when he or she listens to your story, so say you're expressing a story about at your workplace. Now this person, your friend, could connect with another story from his or her friend and connect that pattern with what you just expressed, and then bring them together. And it generates a new insight. This is connection expressive style. And also this person, the reason that this person is able to express in such a way is because they tend to think in such a way. They tend to learn in such a way, observe things in such a way. That's why they would express it in such a way. Another one is observation after connection. Observation, what does it mean? It means passive watching with internalization. People who learn by observation, they would watch. They simply watch. They watch things quietly, passively, and they just observe every detail. And they're kind of gathering all the data very passively, okay? They do not speak much. When they observe, they do not speak because they are processing internally. That's why it's called passive watching with internalization. That's how they learn best. So when it comes to individuals like that, don't disturb them. Don't disturb them when they are in the process of observing, because that is actually when they are learning. That's actually when they're learning. This is their active learning. This is their type of active learning. Even though it appears to be passive, but that is how they learn best. So I would even say people who tend to use observation as a learning style, they would not like very... Here's the thing, this is very interesting. This is what I observed because I am such an observer, okay? These individuals, they don't like very fixated ideas, okay? Because they gather so many different patterns and ideas, they tend not to be very judgmental. They tend not to be very judgmental because they see many sides of the story. So that's why they don't embrace the idea of being very biased, something like that, or judgmental, because they understand many sides of the same story. So they would be able to see it from a very multi perspective. Okay, so that's one trait. If you resonate with that, you could be very good at learning through observation. Okay. Now we talked about instructional, right? Just now, instructional learning. There's another one which it sounds so similar, but it's not the same. It's structural learning. What is structural learning? Structural learning is systematic flow. You learn so much through being systematic, categorizing things, organizing things, okay? This is systematic flow. These individuals tend to be very organized in many different ways, or aspects of their life could be. But there are different degrees, right? Some people, they don't, what are you doing here? some people are very, they need systems. They need to follow system in order to learn. This would also apply to INTJ individuals. INTJ individuals, it's very beneficial for them to learn with models. So that would be a system, right? And they understand model much easier than other people, especially for INTJ individuals. And however, this is something that individuals in the IN categories, IN blank J categories people, they have a hard time to learn to cope with divergent and convergent thinking, balancing. And that's what I would love to explore with you all. Sure. INFJ here, very aware. Oh, you're INFJ. Hi, Keith. Hi, Keith. Nice meeting you. You are INFJ here. How do you feel being an INFJ? Feeling, you're a rare type, right? Oh, interesting. How do you feel being an INFJ? Like, do you feel sometimes not being understood by people? Or like, it helps with songwriting. Yeah, okay. Like this is like how you express yourself creatively. This is great. Oh, let me know though, like if you feel, please feel free. But interfered with interpersonal communication. What do you mean by that? But interfered with interpersonal communication. What do you mean by that? Anyways, let me keep going and I'll read your comments soon again. All right. And let me know which learning styles you resonate with if you happen to, starting from the beginning. Oh, you're an INFP. You're an INFP. You're an INFP. I see. INFP. INFP is a mediator. INFP is mediator. It's very, like, you could be usually the middle person, like between relationships, right? Like you are, yeah. Too busy perceiving, not conclude. So your observation learning style, maybe, are you? Like you observe a lot of things, you passively watch a lot of things, and you kind of gather a lot of data, but you can't really conclude. So that would be the convergent thinking. Like you can observe, that is divergent, because you can brainstorm a lot of things, you observe a lot of data, you gather a lot of data, but you might have a hard time converging them, to solidifying them, or say consolidating them into actual practicality. That is something that most individuals who are introvert and perceptive, so INFP, right, perceiving, having a certain need to learn about this. Yes, mediating, not wanting to. Yeah, you are like the peacemaker. I understand. Yeah, you're the peacemaker. You don't like conflict. Yeah, that's great. You're like both, like peaceful bird. Okay, let me keep going. Okay. So after structural, that would be what are you doing here again? Yeah. So stubborn. So after structural, that would be the systematic one, right? So another one would be brainstorm learning style. The learning style of brainstorm means that this individual would tend to use divergent thinking to stimulate learning. Okay, so what could it be? When somebody likes to brainstorm, they possibly would like to draw in very different things, such as like color. Like say, if they look at a set of colors or they observe things with colors, they could think like, oh, red. Okay, I see the color red, say. I see the color red. Red can also is fire. Fire and also, oh, heat. Oh, warmth. Oh, heater. Oh, coziness. Oh, Scandinavian. Danish, because it's hygge, it's comfortable. Oh, cold though, because it's Scandinavia. You know, this is the divergent way of it's brainstorming. They're brainstorming a lot of things. Okay, this is the one way of learning. So these individuals, if in reality, they could be quite ungrounded, seem to be. Okay, but again, this is the balance between divergent and convergent thinking. When a person is it tends to be more divergent thinking or learning or expressing, it would be very beneficial for them to counterbalance this with convergent thinking. So to ground their ideas, because this is actually very, this could help them to be more productive, function more efficiently, because they ground their ideas. Oh, what do you think? Let me see what Keith is saying. But I'm 61, so the axes have blended. I'm gaining from the other sides. Yes, lots of data I'm observing. Yes. What do you mean by your axes have blended? And you're gaining from the, what do you mean by from the other sides? Huh? Yeah, lots of data and observing. So you're possibly someone, yeah, your observation learns out, yeah. What you say about divergent brainstorming is challenging to have an ordinary conversation because one can't decide which angle to approach in conversation. Ah, yes. Yes, I understand. Because it's like the red thing, like red fire, warmth, Scandinavia, and then people can't follow you. People can't follow through. That's why you might have challenging moments when it comes to conversation, because not many people function this way. Right? So they can't really catch up with that. Not because like they are dumb. No, it's just they don't express in this way nor learn in this way. It is not how their plugin is. Okay, so it's very interesting. Yes, trying to understand. I understand you. I get you. I totally get you. Yeah, it is quite challenging. It is really challenging sometimes. So that's why divergent and convergent learning and thinking really can help us to express ourselves even more, even when it comes to building a business, or even just getting our ideas and thoughts out. Because that's what I noticed is a lot of individuals, especially the INTJ, INFJ, INFP, INTP, like these individuals, the introvert ones, they have so many great ideas in their head. That's divergent thinking. But they don't know how to ground. Even if they know how to categorize it, that would be the T, INTJ, they know how to categorize. They do know. Some people, they do know how to categorize, but they don't know how to share. They don't know how to communicate. Oh, okay, wait, let's see. Hi, Aries Mars Express. Keith said, we are challenged to add extraversion if we are introverted, to gain sense when we are intuitive. Yes. Especially when you are intuitive, you already feel what it is. But the other person don't. The other people don't. They don't feel. They are not as intuitive as you usually, because you're introvert, right? That is the intuitive person as well. I know it's introvert in MBTI, but it also is intuition. And so you already feel and you already sort of know what it is. However, it can be quite challenging for you to express yourself, because when you express yourself, it could be quite like this. And the other person might not even understand. Yes, grounding is super important. Now, let's go to Aries Mars Express. I am Enneagram 5W6 MBTI. Are you like giving me coding or something? You're coding? What is this? Huh? I'm like, ooh, that's long. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Is this like a, you know what it looks like? It's like the model of something. You know, when you have the Apple phone, you go into an iOS version, and then it's like a chunk of, I'm like, oh wow. I'm just joking. I'm just teasing. Wait, please explain to me what is Enneagram and 5W6. I don't understand. I really don't know. But INTJ, yes, I understand. Different personality test. Okay. Please elaborate on that if you don't mind. You're INTJ. I see. How is it? How do you feel when it comes to learning for yourself? Aries, Mars. How do you feel when it comes to learning? Like what kind of ways that you feel you learn best? I don't know if you just entered the chat room because I've shared some of them, the learning styles already. But feel free to if you feel. Which one do you feel more resonating with, or personally do you feel? Okay, let me keep you. I have to master things many times by rote. So repetition. It's like, do you learn better when you repeat something? Many times by rote. Yeah. Is it like you have to repeat it, like focus on something and you keep doing it again and again and again to refine the technique? Is it you're such a person? Maybe. Right? I did talk about that repetition thing. Maybe before you enter the room. Okay, so you can go back to watch it maybe later if you feel interested. Okay, if it is a skill, it is by rote. If it is conceptual, I get it immediately. What do you mean by, what is rote? I don't know this word actually. Yes, I was thinking, I don't know, what does it mean by ROTE? If it is conceptual, so you already embody the divergent thinking ability. That's why, repetitive practice. Yes, repetition. If it is skill, it is by rote. So what kind of skills though? Like handworks, or, you know, what kind of skills? Or music, like, you know, what kind of skills particularly, if you don't mind sharing? Writing or music. Oh, interesting. So you have to repeat it. You repetitively write, keep writing. Be it is like you're writing a music composition, or, you know, novel or articles, until you get it correct. But now here's the thing I'm curious. But for both music and writing, they don't really have a correct answer. Then why would you say until it's correct? That's what I don't understand. It's just like, I'm just like, why? Okay, why? Aries, what disciplines? Arts. Me too, I get it. You guys are connecting. Keith and Aries, Mars Express. I see. Wait, let me go into the next ones, and then I will, you guys can keep commenting, okay? I'm just gonna keep going. And then I will read your comments very soon, again. Now, then after brainstorm, so that would be the divergent one, right? Divergent stimulation. You use divergent thinking to stimulate learning or expressing, okay? So that would be brainstorm. After brainstorm, there's another one which is verbal. Some people, they use speaking to organize their thoughts. It is a very automatic thing. That's why there's some people, they would like to info dump. Because when they speak, they're actually organizing the thoughts. However, not many people around them might appreciate that. right? But that is actually a learning style that would be very beneficial for them. So these would usually be autistic individuals. They could embody this learning style. They use the verbal way. Usually because how I see it is they absorb a lot of information very quickly. So however, for autistic individuals, it's very interesting because they don't like routines so much. They don't like to be trapped in a routine, but they like their own routines. Okay, for autistic individuals, because there are different degrees, right? Autism, the spectrum. For autistic individuals, they have this tendency to have to have their own routine, but they don't like other people enforcing routine onto them. Okay, so why am I bringing this up when it comes to verbal? Is because they have their routine, which is like when they absorb something, they would have to process it and speak it. That is their way of learning. However, when it comes to traditional school, the school system, the educational system, would be feeding them with different kinds of information structurally, and that would not match up with autistic kids, because that's not how they learn. Okay, they don't like this kind of too much of a structural learning. Okay, so that would be also linking to verbal, because not many children would actually verbalize the information out. That's info dump, right? Okay, so however, it could also be useful not only for autistic individuals, for people in general. If they do embody the verbal way of learning, they would usually let me put it this way. It would be very beneficial for individuals who embody the verbal way of learning to actually communicate or interact with other people of sharing similar interests, because this way would help them to reinforce their information intake. Okay, that way to stimulate their neurons and to learn, to connect new insights. Okay, that's for verbal. And then there's interpersonal. Interpersonal learning means they learn through people with this. They learn through social interactions. Okay? Arigato. No offense. No offense. No offense. Arigato. Ohayo. Anyways, hello. Welcome to the chat room. All right, let's keep going. Interpersonal learning style is that they learn through social interactions. Now, these people, they are very good at relationship things. Like, these are usually the people who are more extrovert in a way, okay? They are good at dealing with interpersonal relationships. And how they learn through social interactions is that exchanging information. They could go into a big pool of people, a group, a setting, a context, and they are able to mingle. They are able to socialize, and through socializing, they absorb the information that they want to learn about. Either they can investigate, or say, asking questions, or say, even to a point, it could also be observation. See, there are different learning styles can come into together. They could observe how other people dress, how other people express themselves, and they could imitate even. Okay, so there are different learning styles coming together. Imitation, observation, interpersonal. In a particular social context, they are able to learn in such a way. All right? At least pick your own element. Now, the next one is context. So what are you doing here? My hair is a little bit wild today. Context. What does it mean by context learning? Context learning means case study and scenario. So some people, now I did mention there's another one which is called something like case study, right, in the beginning. That would be, what did I say? Which one was it? I forgot. I can't find which one I said was case study. But anyways, I think it was connection. Connection, the one I was like, if you give them this and this, they can link the patterns. Yeah, that's the one. Connection. So context is different from connection. Context is scenario studying. Why? Because say it means giving them a living example that they can refer to. So this is not making connection between patterns. You see the difference? This is not connection. For connection is linking patterns between two things or multiple things. Drawing in the patterns, linking it, okay? Now for context learning, it means that these kind of individuals, they would learn by listening or examples, like actual examples. That's why I put it as scenarios or case study. That is how they draw inspirations from or cues or referencing. These individuals learn best when it's referencing, through reference, okay? For example, if they want to learn how to dress for a particular occasion, okay? You have to give them a context. You have to give them a context. Now, some people could be combining with context with, instructional. Meaning, these people need instructional step-by-step guidance from a teacher or mentor in order to assist them to understand through scenarios. So it's mixing with the instruction with scenario. Okay, now for another person, it might not be like that. For another person, it could be context with observation. So they would just put them, these individuals learn best when you put them in a context and then they observe. They just quietly observe and then they can get the reference from it. You see the difference? So it's like everyone is so unique with different set of things. I see the what do you call the comments. But let me finish the last one, okay? And then oh hello, I've never met you here. You are Po. Po, like I'm imitating. The emoji. The emoji. Okay, we actually still have this more, but then I'll just finish this little piece here. So this one is sensual learning. The sensual learning style is these individuals would learn very well with the senses. That's why it's sensual. The senses, the 5 senses. They learn best through smell, taste, touching, visual, like things. I know, but it's not the same as the visual. It is, but it's a combination of it. What would it manifest in? They could learn it's very beneficial for them to touch something, say the fabric. Okay, something like this. Or they learn very good when it comes to, you have to bring, say if these individuals have to learn cooking, you have to bring them to the market. You have to bring them to the actual market in order for them to feel the vegetables, to see the vegetables, to experience that. It's sensual. You understand? Sensual is experiencing the entire thing. Okay? Cool graduates. Love that. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Em. Okay? I will go to the comments soon. Okay? But let me finish the sensual. The sensual is the experiencing it. And that's what Japanese are very good at, creating experiences. That's just something they are very good at creating good experiences. Okay, that is a very good, I just adore the Japanese, like such a great craftsmanship, okay, in such a way. So experiencing sensual. Now, what else can it be? Tasting. These individuals learn best when they taste something, and some of them are able to, when they taste something, they already know how to cook it. They already know. That's how they learn. They have to taste it, and then they know. It's super cool. I've met individuals like that. Okay, that's their skill set. That's their skill. Now, for some other, it could be they have to be in that place. Then they would absorb it because they are experiencing it. It could be going to an orchestra. Say if it's someone that have musical composition. Okay, now bring them to there. Bring them to such a setting, or if you are such a person, go to these places, because you learn best when you're in such a context. You are, see, it's context plus sensual. This is context plus sensual. You learn best when you're in there, and because you're experiencing that, and that's how you learn so much from that. Okay, now let me go to the comments. Where did I? Right? Okay. Because I was asking Aries Mars Express, like, what do you mean by repetitive things? Like, and then until I get it correct. And then Keith said, writing daily is an excellent practice to unlock verbal fluidity. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, it's true. It's true. But now here's something else I realized is that verbal is verbal. Writing is writing in a way. Like, writing does help us to express, but it's in a writing way. It is not the same as verbal, because we can write in a very fluent way. This is how I personally experience. Please let me know if it does it apply to you as well. I can write in a very expressive way, but the verbal is another function. It's another motor function in the brain. So we do have to train the motor function as relating to speaking, to speech. So it's kind of different for me. There's a different part of the brain that is dedicated for speaking and writing. So I do understand what you mean, because when it comes to writing, it can help us to organize our thoughts in a much more cohesive way, and so that also contributes to how we express ourselves verbally then. So it does have. Identifying emotions that block verbal can help speech fluidity. Journaling practice. Yeah, I totally agree. Yes, that is very true. Because in such a way, what are you doing here? My hair is a bit wild today. My hair has her own character, personality. So it changes every single day. Keith, yeah, I understand. Oh, social anxiety. Do you get upset when you interact with people? Like, do you have quite a challenge? Is it like a challenging thing for you to interact with people verbally, right? It's like interpersonal wise. Does it happen to you? I'm gonna wait for your answer, but I'm gonna read other people's ones first, okay? So let's see. And then Aries Mars Express said, to understand complex topics, I need to know the high level concepts first. If someone explains a lot of details, then I tune out. Okay. I see. You're like I'm talking to Aries, Mars. It's kind of like it's like an umbrella. You need to learn this first, right? Before, if people tell you about this, you're like, nuh-uh. You tune out. Is that what you mean? So you have to get the top of the umbrella first. And then you can, 100%, yes, I understand, okay. And then you can derive from this and understand all the aspects that they're talking about. Yes, that means you are, yeah, I understand what you mean. That's good. That's very good. Like, you're someone, you need to know about the root. the root. You have to know the root. So then you would then be able to extend, to think in a very extensive way. Let me keep going. Aries Mars abstraction, yes. Keith is saying that. And then Keith also said, the concepts provide the reasons and purpose for the ordinary data stuff. The concepts provide reasons and purpose for the ordinary data stuff. What do you mean by the ordinary data stuff? And you see, Keith, I'm like, I understand what you're saying, but I can't, no, I see what you're saying, but I can't understand the details here. Would you mind to elaborate on it? Okay, what do you mean by the concepts provide the reasons and purpose for the ordinary data stuff? Like, the concept, are you referring to Aries Mars? The high level concepts provide the reasons and purpose for the order. Oh, you're talking about this. Details bore them. Maybe. I see your point now. Okay. I don't know. Aries Mars, is it the details bore you, or you're talking about the details bore you, or you mean that you can't really understand through these kind of details, but once you understand this, the concepts then give you the why, and then so you understand all the details. Is that what you mean? Like Keith is also saying this, the why. Is that what you're saying, Aries? Yeah. Aries, 100. Got it, guys. Like, communication is so important. Okay, let's keep going. Aries Mars Express also said, some people speak by telling you all the details first. I totally resonate with you, and then get to the point. The whole time I can't focus because I don't know why they're telling me whatever it is. Yes, I understand. I totally understand this. I also find it very, very annoying sometimes. But so that's why the way I express is I would say the overview of something first. Like, give it a summary first, and then I would go into each section. This is how I prefer to express, because that's also how I prefer to learn, in a way. But when it comes to actually no, I do learn in various ways. But when it comes to communication or expressing, I find it much more effective to do it this way. Yes, get it, communication styles. Yes. So that's why using a thesis way of expressing when it comes to delivering more logical topics is effective to do it in a very structural way. But when it comes to creative things, there's no need. That you can just express, right? But not when it comes to some more materially heavy subjects. So I get your feeling. And then the no offense, arigato. Yeah. And then Keith also said, yes, big picture approach. I'm that way too. I feel like introverts usually think in a very big picture way, isn't it? Right? See things in very big picture. Another concept helpful to understand is the anxious or avoidant communication styles. Not only did I experience avoidant and anxious communication styles, I also experienced, fortunately and unfortunately, the attachment styles in relationship. So, yeah, it's true. But how do you feel when it comes to the communication style, Keith? The anxious and avoidant, right? I mean, avoidant for me is they tend to close off and not to communicate, right? And anxious ones are the one that is more, how should I say, like persistent, or even to a point of if it's obsessive, because they're anxious, okay? So they would then be very persistent to get the avoidant person to communicate with them. But then it's just a loop that's not gonna go anywhere because the avoidant one usually does not respond consciously or giving any kind of feedbacks to the communication. So what did you say? Okay, so if I'm interested in someone avoidant, it triggers my anxiety. Impossible. Yeah, it does. Because they, I don't know if you have watched that video, but if you're interested in that, I talked about how this entire thing works in the video that is titled I broke the illusion of narcissism, and here's why. That's the title. One of my videos, recent ones. I talked about the chain effect of how because the avoidant would not give external validations to the anxious one, because it actually basically means feedback loop, and that would cause the anxious one to become more and more anxious because they can't locate themselves in this relationship because not receiving the necessary feedbacks for them to reinforce their actions. So they would get into a more and more confusing state because of this loop. So if you're interested in that, please check that video out, and please share with me how you feel about it, your experience in that video below, if you feel like it. Yes, a loop, exactly. Kay, if you want to see my communication style, now I posted some videos talking about music career when I was young. Okay, let me see if later I can check it out. Like, but I don't know if I can find you. I don't know if I can find you because now I can't check it. But yeah, if you feel like it, you can comment after I post this live chat. Okay, like give a comment below because I don't know, I can't find you. Okay, I can't find you because whatever we're chatting here is not actually showing after I post the live chat. So you please comment, give it a comment when I post it. Only then I can find you. Let me go back here. Go back up. So, Kay, are you a student of psychology in Japan? No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not in Japan, and I'm not. I'm not in Japan, and I'm not a student of psychology. But I'm very interested in Japan as well as psychology. Okay. Okay, and then the poem. Okay. And then Keith also said, sensual learning by doing. Yes, by doing, that's also sensual learning. Like some people, it would be, some people, they're very good at, pottery is one thing. Or even bread making. It's very sensual. Like you touch the dough, it's super soothing. It's so calming. Like, oh my God, it's so fluffy. The dough, the bread dough. It's so sensual, it's so nice. Some people might like fragrance, perfume. Okay, so there are different ways of learning. And M said, cool graduate seminar. Like, wink, wink, wink back to you, M. And Keith said, identifying emotions that block verbal can help speech fluidity. Journaling practice. Yes, we went through that just now. Yes. Social anxiety, not upset, excited. Oh, you're excited when you connect with people, is it, Keith? Too eager to be heard or anxious about being misunderstood. Oh, mostly my younger self. I get you. I see. I've solved most of this. That's great. I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. And then Aries Mars Express said, the concepts give the why for the details. Yeah, we went through this just now as well. Yes, the umbrella. I saw no offense said was your ideal time for life. What's my ideal time for live video? You mean live video? No offense? No offense. No pun intended. What do you mean by my ideal time for live? Like you mean live stream? Like now? What do you mean? What do you mean? Let me know. I'll go back to you. Let me keep reading. Every set details bore them. Yeah, we went through this. 100%, yeah. Yes, look. Thanks. Keith Wash 88. Keith Wash 88. Okay. Yeah, what do you mean by that? No offense, what's your ideal time for life? This is quite an ideal time for life for me, actually. Like, if you're actually asking this question for live stream, you know, yeah. Okay, you know what, guys? Let me finish the rest of the learning styles here, and then we'll go. You guys can keep commenting, okay? Keep commenting, keep mingling. I'm just gonna be here. Keep going. So now, after these 2 pages, okay, now there's another 2 pages. Now, we talked about sensual, right, just now, sensual. What's more, it's associative thinking. This one is very similar to brainstorm, okay, like red, fire, warmth, coziness. Okay, this is very similar to that, but there's a difference between them. It's very similar though, because for brainstorm is divergent stimulation. It doesn't have to be visual. You see, the brainstorm one can actually be through a logical way. Say, I'm thinking of a math problem. Now, I can use this way to think the other way, to solve this problem, or this one, or use this other way, methodology-wise, right? That is a way of brainstorm. But when it comes to associative, it is more visual. Okay, associative, it tends to be more visual. Okay, it doesn't have to be always visual, but it tends to be more visual. What does it mean? It's adjacent or tangent, tangent learning. Okay, adjacent learning or thinking. So it could go really, really, really divergent. Now, say, I'll give an example. I'll give an instant example. Something like this, tissue. Okay. Now, when it comes to this, you see this now. You can do it with me. When you see this, what else how far can you go out of this entire context here to associate something with this? How far can you go? We don't have to think of the farthest thing now, but we can start. Let's play. Okay, let's play. You can type in the comments below. How far can you go? Give it keywords. Now I'm gonna start with this. I think of Plato. Now I'm gonna give you the context why. There was a time I took a picture with a tissue as a bookmark on a page where it's about a Plato quote, a quote of Plato, okay? I know, it is a piece of memory, but that's associative. You see, this is not really it is divergent, but it's not really brainstorm. It is part of the brainstorm, but it's more associative because I'm linking back to a visual that I have had in my head a long time ago. And then this is literally nothing related to the tissue. If you just see it on my Plato, you're like, what? What? Right? You could be like, what? But to me, Plato. Now, let's keep going. Plato. Then what else? What would you think of? Plato. Oh, Pluto. I think of the planet. You see what I'm trying to say? It's very far. It's totally different field. But if it's so similar, you can make the link, but it can go so far. Does it make sense here? But you understand what I'm trying to say, huh? It's really far. From a tissue to Plato, from Plato to Pluto. And then, this can be very useful when it comes to generating new aesthetics, new style. Okay? It's like making your own constellation. Okay? So this is one way, associative. Another is classification. Some people learn best when they classify things in a way that makes them feel good, or they make it make sense. Okay, now there's another one that I mentioned that is so similar, which would be structural, right? They have to make it into a systematic way, put them into boxes, or like they are very organized, right? However, when it comes to classification, what's the difference here is that this is more about cognitive. It's cognitive distinguishment, cognitive rearrangement. It doesn't have to seem to be organized to other people at all. Does it make sense? When it comes to structural, it can be like a systematic flow. But for people who use classification, yeah, it is also organization, but they have their own classification system that could possibly does not make a sense to other people. Okay, so this is about their cognitive distinguishment, that this is to themselves. Like for example, I'm going to draw up an example. Now, for some people, if it's like a structural way, systematic way, they could organize their desktop on the computer into folders, right? Okay, folders. Now, they're gonna name it, this one is finance, and then another folder is learning, another folder is music, okay? So yes, that is also a way of classifying, right? However, what I'm trying to refer to is that there is a certain type of people, they would not do it in such a way. What they would do is, it could be the folder name, the name of the folder. It could be a symbol, or it could be a range of code that they make up for themselves. Because it resonates with their own condition. It resonates with their own arrangement in their condition. This is their cognitive rearrangement. Not only that, they might not even put the folders in the straight line, like horizontally or vertically. That's what usually organized people would do. But for people who are like classification, they could do it in a way that is this. Like they have their own pattern. Okay, now this is more divergent. This is really much more divergent, but it makes sense to them. It makes sense to them. Now this would relate more to autistic individuals, I would say, because this is their way of thinking. No, people who are more neurotypical, they might not really understand. Okay, but it makes sense to that person when it comes to their own classification system. So they would not like people to touch their stuffs. They don't like people to touch their stuff. Okay, now it's also about privacy, but it's also about that is actually how they classify their own things. And if people move one of those things that they place here, they feel very uncomfortable because that's a system that they build up, classification system that they build up for themselves. It might not seem structural to other people at all, but it is to them an arrangement for them. Okay. Now another one is imaginative visualization. Imaginative visualization. Now there are many things that I'm saying here. It could look very similar. In fact, they do share similarities, but if we dissect into them, we can see the difference and could be very useful. When it comes to imaginative visualization, it sounds very similar to associative, the tissue to Plato and to Pluto, right? It sounds very similar, as well as to the other one that I said, brainstorm, right? Brainstorm. However, imaginative visualization is constructional imagination. What is it? Like constructive or constructional imagination, because it's visualization. They actually can see what they imagine in their mind's eye. Before even drawing it out, before even producing anything, they are already seeing it. They are already visualizing it using imagination. Okay, so this is not even like linking things anymore. This is constructing. They have already constructed this entire thing in their mind. Be it it's a story, be it it's a motion picture, they see it. Okay, this is the way that they learn and the way that they express. How would they learn? The way they would learn is possibly it's very good for this individual to give them the guidance, because this is actually a skill set, to tell them how it comes, the formation of something. The formation of something, give them this kind of settings to allow them to see, to observe, okay, through observation or imitation, the formation of something, because that helps them to pick up the skill set very easily to construct through visualization. Okay, so that would be, they usually learn best when it comes to pairing up with maybe like motion picture, stuff like that. Okay, because they then learn from these cues and this data, draw in, and then they can produce their own image, their own thing in their mind's eye through visualization. Okay, so these would be very, very creative individuals usually, and it really is very important for them to learn convergent thinking, because they do see it, they do have this constructive visualization already, but it needs to ground, to consolidate it. Okay, be it is for like a movie or for the construction of a garment, okay, anything like this. That's the way for them to express, right? Another way, there's another one is called contrast. Contrast means they usually, people with the contrast learning style, is that it would be very beneficial to use comparisons. Now, this is very similar to case studies, right? It's like drawing the patterns, right? But there's a fine line here, is that contrast is through comparisons. Now, it's not pattern though, but because pattern means similarities, right? You find the link, it means similarities. Contrast learning means you have to show something that juxtapose each other. And then when they see the juxtaposition, when they see the contrast between two things or multiple things, they can then draw in this understanding to integrate. Okay, so this is by differences. They learn by differences, not similarities. But sometimes it can be both, right? Because yes, it can be both. It can be, they can draw in the similarities, the pattern linking, but not the differences, but maybe can at the same time. So it really depends. But that's how we are all composed of all of these learning styles to different degrees, right? We can all embody all these learning styles. Maybe some we haven't activated yet. We haven't activated them yet because they're not being exercised as much as the other ones, right? So we all actually embody all of this, but it depends on how we want to exercise them. And this one is interesting. The next one that I'm going to talk about is experimenting. Some individuals learn best when they experiment with things. It's kind of like in a laboratory, right? It can be experimenting, but it can also be cooking. Some people just like to experiment with different dishes, different flavors, different combinations of things. It can happen at any moment in our daily life. You can experiment with how you walk. If I move this muscle, if I move this toe, how would my entire body dynamics change when I walk? So this is another way of some people learn best when it comes to experimenting. You have to show them with demonstration. You have to experiment with them to bring them to that setting, and then they would learn a lot from that. Okay, so it's basically testing with options and possibilities, trial and error. That's how they learn best. Okay, and then next one is linear. The one there was one that I mentioned. It was called non-linear, right? Non-linear means non-routine, explorative learning. Non-linear is like for ADHD individuals, it would be best for them because they don't like people putting routine on them, but they like their own routines, right? Now, when it comes to linear, what I'm suggesting here is that they learn by, how should I say this one? They can observe, share, and overlapping common traits. Okay, so this is not much about what did I want to say? I lost track. I wanted to say it's not so much about the pattern thing. This is more about linking very specific thing. But why is it linear? It's because it's like a path. They think in a very pathway way. They think in a very linear way that they have to go from this trait to this trait to this trait to this trait. However, it's a trait. It's a trait, okay? It's not a pattern. Some people can notice trait but not pattern. Pattern is a much more bigger picture, okay? But you can train up to that. You can expand into that, but not many people can do pattern. Seeing patterns, okay? But trait, yes. Linearly, you can see it. Like say, if I compare, can I do this? Like if it becomes two lines, right? Say if it's two lines, you can compare them by dot. I think I drew something here. Because I drew them out in geometric shapes, but I think I can't really show through this live chat because I think of maybe I would demonstrate them in another way. Okay, so these are all different ways of learning, but in geometric shapes. So that would actually help a lot of us everyone basically to learn us deriving from the shape, geometric shape, that we can incorporate into our learning. So I think I'm gonna go into this later, maybe in a separate video, because I want to draw them out in order to demonstrate better. I'll think of a way to demonstrate better, but not through the live chat. Yeah, so okay, someone asked a question. All of this, not question, but a comment. All of these learning styles are dominated by our worldview or world or orientation. Dominated by our worldview or world. What do you mean by, where's the link? I'm asking you now, where's the link? Where's the link? What do you mean by learning styles are dominated by, how does our worldview dominate our all of these learning styles? How do you see that? I mean, how do you see that, Keith? Like I'm curious. Like okay, I'm gonna wait for an answer. I'm gonna keep going first. Okay. Now the next one is relational. Relational is that This one is super interesting. When an individual learns by relational learning style, it means that they actually can relate through other people's experience. So this would be a more of an empathic quality, right? Empathetic, or you could say, they learn through relating themselves to other people's experiences, be it comes to feelings or similarities. So what could this be? These individuals would learn best through listening to TED Talks, or reading other people's autobiographies, or biographies. And also they learn best through listening to interviews, other people's interviews. So they can then draw in the relational experiences through that, through relating oneself to other people's experiences. That's how they learn best. Okay, it's more of a passive way somehow, but it can also be active. So it can be relational plus interpersonal. Like you put yourself in a context, actually socializing with other people, and you can actually learn from the relational as well, because you learn by relating yourself to other people's experiences when you're socializing. It's so interesting. It's like pick your element and make your own composition or make your own thing. Okay. And now there's another learning style. We have 4 left. There's another learning style which is called deconstructing. Deconstructing is kind of like you break down every little element in a particular construct, and you can then understand. By understanding each component, you learn so well. Okay, you learn so well. Like say it's like a machine and you break it down into different little pieces. You learn each piece and then you understand how it works. But then it's through deconstructing things. Okay? Some people know. Some people, they have to learn in a structural method, like teachers telling them this, and then put together, right? But for these individuals, they learn by deconstructing things. They don't like putting together piece by piece. They like to deconstruct piece by piece to learn each piece, okay, by themselves. They usually like to work by themselves, okay, these individuals. The next one is anchor. Anchor means these individuals would learn best when with keywords, giving them keywords. That's why it's anchor. Keywords or highlights. They learn best when there are things that can grasp their attention, so then they can focus. So this is actually very beneficial for them to learn. And usually how they would also express is they would draw, they would throw out certain terms or certain name of ideologies in order to assist themselves to track their own thinking process. Okay. The last two is there's one is called multi-intersectional. Multi-intersectional is when an individual kind of like having different crossing lines, and then when the intersection happens, right? The intersection happens, they can draw in new insights. But not only that, they don't just do it this way. They can have multiple lines crossing at the same time, having many different dots, right? Many different intersections. That's why it's called multi-intersectional. And then with all these dots, they can draw in data, and then they learn. So this is much more expansive. Like this kind of learning style is much more divergent or expansive, or say big picture. They learn in a very big picture way. So if you tell them something very detail oriented, they're not interested. Okay, they however would see a lot of things happening at the same time, and then they can see that, and then they draw in it, and then they learn something new. Okay, the last one is called narrowing. Narrowing. the narrowing learning style, is that they have to condense something. They have to condense or draw in something in order to specialize it. Okay, this is like, say, because these individuals would have a more challenging time when it comes to divergent thinking. Okay, like I think these individuals would be much more convergent in a way because they need to focus. Or this could also be a learning style that needs to be activated more when it comes to certain individuals that are challenging, have challenges when it comes to focusing. Okay, so by helping them to narrow down their thoughts, funneling, that helps them to focus. So, yeah, that's it. And yes, let me read the comments and then I will respond to you guys. So if you guys, please feel free to comment below. And after I respond to your comments, I would then wrap up the video with divergent and convergent thinking style. Okay, like in conclusion. All right, let's see. I see, Keith, you have been commenting. I guess it's Heidegger. What is this? What is this term? Sounds like your styles you describe are about sensual passive personality. Rather than abstract thinking, the styles you describe are more for grounded personalities. What I meant by worldview is related to cognitive bias or confirmation bias. Okay. Oh, it is not biased though, actually. It is not, but if you see it that way, it's not, I'm not talking about bias though. It's more about, I gotta explain, it's learning styles. It's like, we all have these possibilities to embody such learning styles, but it's up to us. It's like a toolkit. Okay, I'm gonna put it in this way. Like whatever I expressed here just now is more like a toolkit. So then you can pick which tool you want to use, and it depends on how well you work with that particular tool yourself, right? So in this sense, you can enhance your relationship with that tool because you use more of it, right? It's like a brush. If you paint, right, you use a brush more often than the other brush. Be like an angled brush, right? There are different shapes of the brush for painting. So that's the same for learning styles here. So it's not really bias, it's more of how we are able to navigate the learning process with different kind of tools in this toolkit that I am just developing and like sharing with you. So, yeah. You're suggesting bias can be counterproductive to learning. Oh, sometimes yes, bias can be very counterproductive to learning. It's true. I do agree. Because we when anything is biased, we are unable to see the many sides of things, right? So it's not as well-rounded if we are biased. It's true. And Stone said, "Oh no, it's magic. You summoned me here, Kay." No, the universe summoned you here. Not me. Not me. But yes, I'm magic, and you are also magic, Stone. Buffer Monkey said, "Looking at the thumbnail, I thought today's topic was the personification of beauty." Oh yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your compliment. Buffer Monkey. Keith also said, German philosopher Heidegger, I think it's Heidegger, right? Pronouncing German, is mostly nonsensical, but insight is woven within. Oh, nonsensical. You mean nonsensical as in nonsensical or what? Usually in older adults. Interesting. Oh, interesting. Great! You guys are so cool. I'm just rereading some of them up. Yeah. Okay, you know what, guys? I'm gonna wrap this video up by, kind of like exploring a little bit of divergent and convergent thinking to give it like a conclusion. So divergent and how do you guys feel, by the way, when it comes to divergent and convergent thinking, like your experience with that, right? Because everyone has different experience when it comes to divergent and convergent thinking. Convergent thinking are usually how people would experience it. It's like people are more neurotypical. They would be more convergent. Like that's what people usually say. And when it comes to divergent, it would be neurodivergent people, right? So how I personally experience that is if I have a lot of ideas, be it it's creative ideas or thought forms in my head, so that would be divergent in a way. Like I can think so far, I can think like okay, but what I experience is that if I have all of this in my head, I can feel very heavy. I feel very heavy, and I just don't like this feeling. So what I would do is literally like what I'm doing here, which is verbally speaking it out to express and to communicate with other people. So to stimulate my learning and neurons to learn. Because by doing this is actually converging. It's actually converging, and I am actively grounding the ideas through expressing myself verbally as well as communicating with other people. So that's what I realized is even if I have a set of understanding and say knowledge that I've grounded on papers or just even in the brain, in my mind, it's very helpful to classify it maybe in my own way or organize it in a systematic way, so structural way, to give myself an understanding of where I'm going, because that I can keep track of it, right? I can keep track of how I'm learning, but at the same time, that is just with myself, right? At the same time, I also have to further convert it by grounding it with communication, with interaction with other people. That is a way of converging. That's how I experience that. So that's kind of like how I balance that. Okay. So see, you guys have any experience of your personal experience? So please comment below, and I'm reading them now. Keith said I don't recommend Heidegger. I think Heidegger. Yeah. Why though? Buffalo Monkey said sometimes nonsensical prompts thoughts you wouldn't otherwise. Oh, sometimes nonsensical prompts thoughts you wouldn't otherwise have. And Buffalo Monkey also said, I'm non-neural. I don't think. Oh, you don't think? Really? Prompts thoughts you wouldn't otherwise have. Buffalo Monkey also said, words have meaning. That meaning limits the thoughts in some ways. It makes them more manageable. Words have meaning. That meaning limits the thoughts in some way. It makes them more manageable. I feel like you guys today, I don't know if it's me, but I feel like you guys today have been talking so indirectly. Like I'm like, not every one of you though, but I'm like, some of them I'm just reading comments, I'm like, it's a vibe, maybe it's an energy, like it's a vibe. I'm like, you guys are talking so indirectly and subtly. Oh my god, Ben! I was thinking about that. I was like, it's cute and cool, Ben. I actually thought about it the other day. Hi, Ben. Hi, cute and cool. Great, Ben. Ben, Yes, I know, Ben, you're not. I know, Ben, you're not. I know you're not. No, it's all right. No, Ben, I actually spoke a lot of learning styles just now. I think you just joined in. So if you like, you can check this video after I post it. Okay. So now I'm wrapping up with reading your comments. Yes, I know you just joined. Yes. So, okay, I'm going to keep reading the comments. So I talked about the many different learning styles. Okay. Like maybe 20. And then I just summarized with how I experience with divergent and convergent thinking. Are you studying to be a teacher? Are you studying to be a teacher? You mean studying as in like academically? Do you mean that like, you know, like joining the... No, but I need to clarify with your question first. Let me read again. Stone said it is one model. Ironically, divergent convergent model is inherently convergent. It is convergent because it is actually convergent because it is grounding it. It is a model. When anything is expressed in a more knowledge form, I would say it is also convergent. So yeah, I also understand. I see what you mean. People seek for, Stone also said, people seek for similarity first to cut down on cognitive load and possibly improve success probability. They expand the search for novel solutions when success probability diminishes. First to cut down, improve success probability. They expand the search for novel solutions. Oh, okay. I understand. I have to take some time to read it because it feels like it's very... How you express is very linear. It's very linear. You link things together by traits. That's how I feel when I read it. Yeah. That's what I'm like. I have to understand the traits that you're showing here, and then like, okay, now I see. I understand. The expanded search for the novel when it's like from this to this to this to this. That's how you express yourself, Stone. That's like, I mean, this particular comment. Yeah, I understand. Interesting. And the Buffer Monkey also said, words have meaning. That meaning limits the thoughts in some ways. It makes them more manageable. I also read that just now. Yeah, and then I was like, oh my god, I feel like you guys are speaking quite subtly. Okay. Buffer Monkey also said, a thought can be infinite within the boundaries of human imagination, whereas a word has a defined meaning, which limits a thought once it is expressed as words. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because when you define something, it actually converges, right? The meaning of the word is actually converging. That's also why what you said about monkey, it reminds me of one of the videos I posted really early on, like a few months ago. It was about I redefine my words, like to build my own dictionary. It's like far back. That's actually what I also realized. Like I resonate with what you're saying, is because when a word has a defined meaning, like its definition, it actually limits the thought. However, I find it interesting to redefine it for myself. So that would be the like classification, that I classify this word, these certain meanings as the definition for the word that I see. So say if someone say I'm lazy, lazy, sometimes there's a limitation to it, where we would say, oh, you're so lazy. So it means that you're not diligent. You are like a couch potato, and it doesn't have a very... It does have a slightly negative connotation to it when you say someone, she's so lazy, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it can be quite lighthearted as well. So it depends on different context. Some people could say, oh, I'm just so lazy, I just want to have some me time lying on the couch, you know. So that depends. So I totally agree with you, because when something is expressed as words, it does have a convergent happening there, and there is a certain limitation when it comes to that. Yes. And then M said she's a teacher already. Oh wow, that's so sweet of you. That's so sweet of you, Em. That's so sweet of you. When it comes to teacher, that is something, how should I say? Like I can resonate being being a teacher. I can resonate with that. However, I don't really see myself as a teacher. Does it make sense? Like I could resonate with taking the role of a teacher in certain context, but I don't resonate with being title of a teacher. There's a difference to me. Because when I take on the role, it's just I switch into that character of being a teacher. But when I take on the title, that's something else. It's not that I don't want the title. I mean, I can. If I happen to, be titled as a teacher, I mean, okay, sure, I don't mind. But I perceive more of the role of a teacher and also a student at the same time than the title of a teacher. I hope it makes sense. Okay, because I see everything as my teachers. Like this entire experience is my teacher. Every experience is my teacher. And I am a student to the experiences. So sometimes I might become the role of a teacher to other people, just as how other people would also take the roles becoming the teachers to me. Yeah. So, all right, keep going, because I read the name Keith and I wanted to say keep going, and keep going. Keep going. Okay, Keith said schools. You schools. You sorry. What do you mean by you school? Like you're a teacher yourself? Is that what you mean, Keith? And then Keith also. I'm gonna come to you, Ben. Wait a second. Keith also said you would be a role model to teach primary grades. Oh, I actually love. I enjoy teaching. Yeah, I enjoy the teaching experience. I do enjoy, and I love interacting with younger people as well, because many of them, I've worked with some high school students. One of them really has a challenging time when it comes to short-term memory. Then I helped her revising. She's a very INTJ. She's very INTJ, so it's quite rare. She doesn't feel understood by people around her at all. But I do understand her, and she knows I understand her. And then I taught her how to revise, how to learn. I told her, if you memorize it this way, you would not be able to memorize it because you are not good at this kind of stuffing things into your head. However, if I explain the why to you, you would get it. And so I explained it to her for, say, what was it? Like, what is capitalism? What is mercantilism? How does mercantilism evolve into capitalism? And then I explained this to her, and then the other day she got 100. And she was like, oh my God, I got 100 on my summative. I'm like, well done. Well done. So it's really, I feel very, very content and very, very happy when I see people grow I'm just really, really happy. Like I see them living in their potential, like, and bringing out their potential, and they feel very motivated. Like when I see that, I got motivated. Like you light up my passion. Like, oh, that's my passion. I'm like, I see you growing. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, you go, keep going, guys, keep going, like keep going, like that's what lights me up. Okay, so yeah, I do enjoy teaching in a way, the experience. Ben said, personally, I try not to use any words more than 3 syllables. Like Ben, B-E-N, cute and cool. That is that. Is that what you're trying to say? When it gets to 4 syllables, I get nervous. Ben also said, I don't think you really need words to describe complicated things. You probably just need good or bad emotions. That's why you like memes, Ben. Ben, that's why you like memes, right? The frog. The frog. I love the frog. Ben also said, I feel like words only converge if you let them. Yes, and it really depends on how we design them. Like, you can design the definition for your own words. No, you can design your own definitions for the words. So if you allow them to converge, then so it is. Oh, in your head you correspond definitions to emotions. That's why you respond to me with the frog. Yes, that's why I like memes. I think you can express it. Yes. So the words come up, but it doesn't really converge in my head. Ah, I see. But then you're in a more visual way, an emotional way. That's how you converge that, right? Yeah. And then Buffy Monkey said, Ben has hippopotamophobia. I don't know what this phobia is. Is it like a hippophobia? It's so funny. Stone said another way, in every waking moment, people strive to achieve. Most striving is done in habit. When habits fail, people are forced toward novelty by first applying methods from alike solved problems. Most striving is done in habit. Ben frog. I'm checking comments out, so that pops up, the frog. Hence, and Stone also said, hence we are still relying on past experience, but at a higher level of abstraction. We're not just repeating habits, we're adapting them. You know, there's one thing about Stone. There's something I want to point out. Is that this is how I feel about it. Whenever I read your sentences or whatever you express, I know that you have good things. You have really, how should I say? You have good thoughts and you have good insights. However, I have a hard time. It's true. I have a hard time understanding them only when how should I say? Because to me, it feels to me that it seems to me when I read it, like you are writing something, the what. You're stating about the what and what. Like you're stating facts. But in order for me to form much more understanding or extract your insights, it would be much more helpful if I can learn about your how, why. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, for example, when you said, hence, we are still relying on past experience, but at a higher level of abstraction, we're not just repeating patterns, we're adapting. Can you give me an example? How? Then I can understand much more. How did you derive that? How did you see? How did you consolidate what you see into this fact that you're stating, because it would be much more helpful for me to understand what you're trying to express when you give me examples, the how, and also explain the why. What is the why is how, when you give me an example, can you link it to the fact that you're stating here? What's the similarity? What is the link between the examples and the statements that you're making? Because you're giving statements, and it's not easy for me to, I mean, personally, maybe it's just for me, but it's just, I'm just giving you feedbacks, okay? That is how I feel. But I understand you have a lot of insight in there. It's just, it's not as easy for me to see more of you, to see more of your insights, to understand more of your insights. But I know there is a lot of insights in there. Buffer Monkey also said, information can only be exchanged accurately if people share definitions. Oh yeah, that's true, because it helps us to understand each other's position or standpoints. For example, decimate means reduced by 10%, but most people think it means completely destroyed. Decimate means reduced. Oh, okay. I see. So people need to agree on definitions in order to exchange information accurately. That is true. But sometimes it would cause a lot of misunderstanding, right? It is true. But this is not, sometimes it's not as easy. It's not as easy. Because, see, languages in itself is already kind of like it involves translation. So sometimes when any translation happens, certain information would be lost along the way of the translation. So yes, but it's true. It is a very good observation, Buffer Monkey. Yes, I agree. Why the birthday cake? Why the thumbs up with the birthday cake? Keith also said, all those children will adore you. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. I also will adore them. Thank you, Keith. Yeah, I actually thought of, I actually would love to work with children. It's on my list. It's on my list. I would love to assist their growth. This is actually on my list, but I'm kind of like brewing and see what kind of opportunities would come with that. Like I'm actually observing and speaking up like this, speaking up and see what comes, because I would love to work with children. Okay, so Bubba Monkey also said, teaching is a real art and distinct from the subject it addresses. I found this when teaching people how to look after trains and work safely in my railway yard. Teaching is a real art. Let me be serious. Teaching is a real art and distinct from the subject it addresses. I found this when teaching people how to look after trains and work safely in my railway yard. Yeah, it is an art. It is an art of involving a lot of interaction and reinforcement, and also affirmation, and also listening to them. Like, how do you find it, learning wise? Is it effective? It is helping. Yeah, it is a real art. And distinct from the subject it addresses. Yes, very, very much. Yes, I totally resonate. Because what you're teaching, the material, is actually distinctive from how teaching truly is. It's more of an art. Ben also said, yes, that's why I like memes. I think you can express a lot like that. Yep, froggy. Oh yeah, this one we read it. Ben also said later, wait. Okay, Buffer Monkey said that hippophobia, and then Ben said, yeah, that word makes me really anxious because it has too many syllables. That's why you chose your name as Ben? Yeah. One syllable, Ben. Ben. Stone also said, so efficiencies first, and only if environment or circumstances chance where habit fails does novelty arise. Whenever you express, it's kind of like reading like a scientific essay, like a journal. It's like journal writing. Yeah. But mind you, Stone, it's not easy for many people to understand such academic expressions, because a lot of people they don't like thinking. A lot of people don't like thinking, so it's like it would be yeah, a lot of people don't like thinking. So I think you know what I'm trying. Yeah, I think you know what I am expressing here. Like because I'm like I have such experiences as well. Like people would not want to listen to me because they don't like to think. Deficient frog? Why deficient frog? Buffer Monkey also said, if you go on the Wiktionary entry for phobia, it actually uses ban in an example of how to use the word. How's that for synchronicity? Ben also said, yeah, I think most words I use stick one syllable. Maybe it's like a word challenge. Lol. You guys. Buffer Monkey also said, I often like to use metaphors to exchange ideas because that reduces the reliance on definitions. Oh yeah. Sometimes metaphors can really help us to reinforce what we are trying to express. It not only it gives us a context to refer to, but it also oh, good night, sweet dreams, man, good night. Yeah, but it also helps us to have more expansive thinking in a way. Stone also said, okay, here, a person goes to the same coffee shop every morning and orders the same drink. This is efficient. They don't have to think about it. One day, the coffee shop becomes closed for renovations. This person is forced to find a new BV shop. Disruption could lead to a better thinking choice. Now I'm understanding it. Yes, that's great. Yes, I understand. And then Stone also said, for example, someone cooks the same dishes for dinner each week. The grocer is out of key ingredients. That one is forced to get creative and find a substitute ingredient or try a new recipe. One discovers a new favorite meal. Okay. Yes, I totally get you. Yes, that's that's very informative. And it really helps to reinforce what you're trying to express. Yes. Buffer Monkey also said, Stone's point is why scammers try to rush people, because people under pressure default to the efficient or easiest option, which is to agree with the scammer. Did you mean that, Stone? I don't know, because I understand what Buffer Monkey is expressing here. That is a potential or a possible scenario or say phenomenon, which I understand. Yes, people would respond like, what do you call that? Impulsively under pressure. That is very true. But I don't know if that is what Stone you're trying to refer to or trying to express here. But what you expressed about the coffee shop and also the grocery, yes, I totally understand what you're saying. It's like when in the routine habit, if there's a point where that compose of such a habit drops out, like it's not available anymore, then it prompts this person to go diverge divergently, to think of new ways in order to complete this, so to speak, complete this habit, but actually it evolves into a new form of the habit. Is it? Ben said, cute and cool is my chosen name, but I'm pretty sure he's well asleep now. Keith said, good night. KFW music on YouTube, song stories. Good night. Oh, no, wait. Keith, you're still here, or you're saying good night to Ben? or you're saying goodbye to us? Buffer Monkey said, I like watching K's cocks turning. What is cocks? Like cognitive? Cognitive? Is that what you mean? Stone said, oh, M, good night. Good night, M. From the city that never sleeps. Big apple. Good night, M. And then Stone said, sure, I can see what Buffer Monkey says. It is true. In general, people are in the habit of go along to get along. But I don't know why, but I feel like you guys are, I don't know, it's just how I feel. Like, I feel like you guys are talking two separate things here. Like what Buffer Monkey said about scammers, and also what Stone proposed. I don't actually sense the link, but I understand both of what you're trying to express. Like, it's totally valid, but it's just, I'm like, where's the link? Anyways, Buffer Monkey said, a cock is a gear, a toothed wheel. Your brain is a machine within which the cogs turn. Oh, let me search up the image. I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google it. What is it? Picture. Thank you. Oh, this. I see. Like in a clock. Like in a clock. Okay, I see what you mean. So you're talking about. Right? Yeah. It's a machine. Okay. I gotta go eat. We have been chatting with each other for 2 hours. Okay. I hope you guys like this live chat. And what was I gonna say? Nothing. My mind is blank now. My brain, the machine, is off duty now. It's like, I need food. So yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the chat room. And I will see you in the next one, shall we? The link is, Buffer Monkey also said, when you are prevented from thinking, you dealt to the easiest option. When you think, you pursue better options. Wait, I'm reading. No. Stone also said, I am suggesting that Divergent or Convergent is pop science, right? Pop science. Rather, we operate in the habit until circumstances drive novelty. Oh, you know what I've learned from here is that I feel like we have a different understanding of Divergent Convergent. That's why I find it not so easy to understand. It's because we perceive divergence and convergence differently. Now I suddenly realize that. Yes. I'm like, yes. Now I suddenly realize that that's the definition thing. That's the definition thing, because I feel like that's why I am kind of like trying to understand, but like, wait, are we on the same page? Yes, all comes, yes, it's the definitions of worth. We learned something new here today. I'm like, now I see. I'm like, okay, that's why I'm having a little bit challenging time to understand what this is. But now I see. This is super important for me to understand, to realize that. So it's very, see, now what I learned is from you guys, from interacting with you guys, is to actually first state the divergent and convergent thing, or say to each expresses what do we know about divergent and convergent. If we don't even have the common set of data, overlapping areas, it's not easy for us to communicate on the same subject. Right? Like 1, 2, 3 set of data, and we have to first understand through communicating the similarities and differences and the patterns and the traits, and then we then understand, oh, that's what you are perceiving divergent convergent is, and I'm not, but then I see your point from here, I'm making the links, now I understand, and then we start discussion based on that. It's like we first have to build a common ground just by the definition, just for the definition, for the understanding, common understanding. This is so important for me to realize. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See, you guys are my teacher. The experience here is teaching me that, oh, it's so important to build a common ground when it comes to ideologies, because ideology is a system of ideals, right? And ideas, not everybody perceives the ideology in the same way. Absolutely not. So, it's a system of thoughts. Buffer Monkey also said, if my white is your definition of black, we'll struggle to play chess. Yes! So true. So true. So we have to understand first, like, maybe we don't use black and white, we use pink and blue. Then we can play with pink and blue. Right? Like, that is so important. But Stone also said, simplified divergent convergent. This model often portrays thinking as a two-step process. First, generate lots of ideas, then evaluate and choose the best one. That's what you, okay. Your model, Stone, is that rely on habits and past successes, trigger, of failure, leads to analogical reasoning for new solution. Let me keep reading first. Buffer Monkey also said, Buffer Monkey's model is hit my head against a brick wall until something happens. Like, for real? Are you using a metaphor? I have to check. I have to double check with you. Are you using a metaphor here? Wait, let me go to Stone. True novelty happens only if we cannot find from past solutions, and like one to solve a new problem, win a new goal. You know how I see about true novelty is really an alchemical process. It is generated through alchemical process. True novelty is bringing two seemingly very distant things or unrelated things together, and that in an organic process would generate novel things. That's how I perceive it. But let me get back to that. What you're saying about the simplified divergent convergent model, which is two-step. First, generate lots of ideas, then evaluate and choose the best one. Yes, it's true. I do see it this way. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but for another way I see it is that it's grounding, right? Because when you evaluate and choose the best one. Now here's the difference that here's the difference. Why I didn't really understand what you meant by, like, if there's something happen, disrupt the pattern, disrupt the habit, only then it would come into something new, right? Or say, you said it would lead to a best, like it's like over time, this process in itself would bring in novelty, right? And that's what you are also referring to, choosing the best one, which is actually at that particular time, you would then be able to find a substitute or anything that is the best option that this person has at this particular time, and they would be able to draw a conclusion from that through analysis or whatever, be it in different kind of contexts, okay? And then come into converging it, right? And this entire loop process, divergent, convergent, brings in movement and novelty, right? And that's why your model is actually quite similar to what you express about the divergent convergent definition, which is you rely on habits and past successes, and you kind of like, you do a lot of, you would use your past experience as a reference bank to analyze, for analysis, right? So whenever you encounter any failures or triggers as relating to failures even, it would lead you to a certain analogical reasoning for a new solution, which is you would try to think adjacently. Not adjacent though, because if it's analogy, that is not adjacent. You would then find horizontal ways reasoning. You find ways horizontally, not adjacent, because analogy is actually using just another context to describe the original context. So you think horizontally, which is reasoning, for new solution. That is how I would operate in this way as well, but I also operate in adjacent reasoning. So tangent, that's why that to me is another experience. And so now I learn about this of yours, and now I understand, oh, that's what you mean. Right, that's what you mean. I see, I really see, I see you. I see you, Stone, I understand. Buffer Monkey also said metaphorical head and metaphorical wall, but pain is literal. Most people just repeat failure and nauseum with novelty nowhere to be seen. Are you that though? Like you keep hitting your head in the wall? Or what? Oh, until the wall breaks, yeah? Until the wall breaks, shatters. Your head is stronger than the wall. My goodness gracious. But some people do. I feel like when people, now you're the smartest man on the planet. I thought you were non-neuro. You don't think. I'm like, I thought you're non-neuro. You said that. So I think for some people, full circle. Some people, I'm gonna wrap up after responding to Buffer Monkey's comment, okay? Because Buffer Monkey said, hit my head against a brick wall until something happens. I feel like this is very hyperfixation. Like this reminds me of hyperfixation. I'm not saying that you are. It's just that it reminds me of that, because sometimes some individuals could really get into like a loop thinking. What do you call that? Like ruminating on something. So that is actually a form of hyperfixation. And then they kind of just can't get off this loop and it's keep hitting the head in the wall. That's how I'm like visualizing it. Like they keep hitting. And then they would have a hard time to get out of certain thought patterns, and like they keep reliving certain circumstances in their mind. So that kind of just reminds me of that. Stone also said, I would suggest that divergent and convergent thinking are completely irrelevant, but these are often embedded within the larger framework that I've described. Are completely irrelevant. We are goal-oriented, trying to conserve calories to stick around long enough to reproduce much. You know how I see it, Stone? Sometimes when I read your things, it's like Wikipedia. Now, what I mean by that is that whenever I read your things, say, I will suggest that divergent and convergent thinking are completely irrelevant, but these are often embedded within the larger framework that I have described, right? It's as if the word irrelevant is blue with a hyperlink that can link to another page. And that is why every time when I read things, your things, I will have to ask you why. I'm like, why? Why? It's like as if I'm clicking into that. Like I have to click into the irrelevant. That's why I would ask you, why do you see it as completely irrelevant? Does it make sense that I'm using Wikipedia as a metaphor? Like, click. I have to ask you. Okay, that's why, because I wouldn't understand, like, what do you mean by completely irrelevant? It's like there are so many missing information in such an expression, you know? That's why, because it's a lot of what, a lot of WHAT, and I have to, in order to understand your conclusion, because these are all conclusions that you're expressing here, but there's no cause and effect. Like there's no relational understanding. I meant not completely irrelevant, but merely embedded in the larger. Now, are you contradicting yourself? You're playing with my mind. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. You said you're completely irrelevant. Anyways, Wikipedia is posted. I never use it. Okay. Well, sometimes I do. It's quite good for brief information learning. Buff Monkey also said, okay, I'm going to stop it here, okay, but I'm going to read this. There was a typo. Okay, got it. Thank you, Stone. Buffer Monkey also said, yes, that is me so often, but only in matters of love. Oh, so when it comes to emotion. Oh, like when it comes to like logical things, it would not happen to you like that. Okay, you know what? Yes, I totally understand what you mean, because, but here's something that I noticed. I would also say from some of my past experiences, yes, that whenever we ruminate on anything, like really, whenever we ruminate on anything, it's because there is a trauma that hasn't been healed. Like seriously, it's how our human psyche works. If something keeps ruminating, it actually is a signal. It's like a system, a sign. Keep sending warning. It's actually telling us, hey, bro or sister, you need to look into this folder. You need to look into this. And then once you look at that trauma and heal from it, the rumination is gone. It's a system warning. The rumination is a system warning. I learned it from past experience. It's really true. For me, it doesn't apply. It might not apply to every single person, but it is related to trauma for myself. Yeah, you have talked to the inner child. Yes, our inner child. They know best. They know so much. I'm like, my inner child just pop out. So it really helps. Like I also experienced that, like the certain ruminations, and then I realized that, oh, I actually have to fix something, the bug within myself, and then that would be gone. It's a system warning. Warning, burr, 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 burr. That's why it keeps coming up, because it needs clearing. Like say in a programming way, it needs clearing so to upgrade your system. Because if something is already so outdated, you actually need to clear the programming and then install new programming. So that's what the system is kind of doing, even when it comes to emotion things. Last words, Stone said, essentially efficiency drives behavior until necessity. Necessity, failure, or habit triggers adaptation and innovation, which is itself grounded in prior knowledge. I'm like a moment of silencing. I'm like, essentially efficiency drives behavior until necessity. Failure of habit triggers adaptation. Okay, I see. I get it. Not so much actually. Like I'm gonna be too honest here, Stone. I maybe I'm just running low. My fuel, my fuel, because I need to get something to eat. But yeah, you should. Yeah, sure. When I because I need to eat something, so I would not. My brain is like, nah, I don't want to be so logical right now. I don't want to analyze it right now. Yeah. And then Buffy Monkey said, get me an emotional spanner, some trauma nuts. Need tightening. What is a spanner? I really need to check it on Google. Oh, this. Okay, a wrench. You are your healer. Buff Monkey, you can heal yourself. You're resilient. Okay? Your inner child knows everything about you. All right. Okay, let's wrap up. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you enjoy this live chat as much as I do. Vote of confidence. Yes, I have faith in you, Buff Monkey. So, all right. I will have a lovely day to you too, Buff Monkey, and to Stone, to everyone here. Thank you for your active participation and also active listening. Okay, your presence is really, really appreciated. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.